First of all, thanks to all the speakers who inspired and shared their personal narratives and personal experience and opinions. We had Bala Selva, who spoke about the importance of teachers to build community. He spoke about how as a parent, how his decision of whether to decide homeschooling, online education, or school-based education for his children during the COVID crisis led him to look at various possibilities of what online education must cover, right from better collaboration to better learning management tools to better MOOC-based educational courses, and to the shortcomings of both older teacher-enabled education and the human connect missing in online education, kind of led him into exploring various kinds of portals, various kind of collaboration platforms and discussion sessions, which I'm happy to note has given him and his children a better, safer option of learning. And he did speak about additional options of the future, such as virtual reality enabled learning, holographic projections, for 3D learning, etc., which will eventually help build a better community. Whereas he definitely did touch upon how technology has helped modern education to reach down to every nook and corner of the globe. This was followed up by a second speech by Dr. Sharat Garimella, who in turn brought out his educator-based experience and how learning management and learning itself changed over the years. How in the initial days there was bricks and mortar style learning to what happened in the learning space before Corona and after Corona, how new infrastructure, how new learning management systems, how enabling teachers to use online collaboration platforms, how enabling teachers through newer evaluation systems and examination systems, assignment and assessment systems, occupying the learner and engaging them through engaging modes of learning, whether it be through interesting audio video enabled content, whether it be gamification of the learning content, etc. They're all wonderful ideas of technology supported learning. But I think he ended his note with the right message that blended learning will be the future, which will involve both human connect and participation, along with the ability to have and manage and segregate data of different learners and get analytical insights from how a learner learns. So teaching and learning must go hand in hand, and technology can only help the learner but cannot be a replacement for teaching itself, is what Dr. Sarath mentioned. We had the third speaker of the day, Mr. Murugesh, who started off with a poetic rendition of Bharatiyar and then went on into focusing on how online learning and platforms today can also help teach and enable values. He did speak about the importance of various kinds of moral values, ethical values, cultural values, etc., and how the learning platforms, both online and offline, must enable to build self-esteem and self-awareness within the learner. He did focus on how social platforms can help build better connect between the students and help act as influencers for the learners. He also discussed about how online learning platforms today need peer learning, larger connect, and need to spread the message of equitable learning. Together, aesthetic values also matter. So how a learner will absorb content, how will a learner be presenting himself or herself, and how human touch can help education to continue to stay in vogue, both in terms of teaching and learning experiences of values through a term that he coined called tech use. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but it's a merger of technology and values to drive the world towards positivity. Then we had our student speaker of the day, Mr. Vishnu, who spoke about how tools can cater to various tasks, that can be automated, with a wonderful example of how a spreadsheet enables calculations much faster. He did speak about two important points. One about technologies that are built by human beings should not be seen as constraints when it comes to building product enablement. So he brought focus around how in the modern age, it is needed for us to look at product enabled and design thinking based approach, and reluctance to thinking that something is not possible should be changed. The second point that he focused on was about how technology can be a new avenue and should not be seen as a challenge or an alien thing, but must be wholeheartedly welcomed and accepted by the modern age, so that online learning can go ahead and spread its wings and roots in every corner of the society. Whereas technology should not dictate constraints on how we learn or how we live our life, our ideas must be spread out through the amplification that technology can provide. So, whereas technology itself should not constrain, nor should implementation of technology constrain learning, it must be seen as a mechanism of easing access to learning and learning resources. Finally, we did have Suparna Roy, ma'am, who spoke about a personal narrative in terms of how, in her experience, from the time the lockdown began in March, through how the academic year progressed and how virtual platforms became the norm, and how the challenges of all of these platforms about checking if we are audible, checking if the video stream is visible to people, kind of changed the new norm of how the regular mode of attendance, the regular mode of physical contact and connect was enabled through a newer mode of challenged connect through technology. But nevertheless, it still helped reach the technology and the teacher multiplied or rather exponentiated to a factor of n to the number of participants learning, so as to enable education reach to every corner. She also spoke about how the rediscovery of learning needs to happen through technology-enabled learning. That kind of summarized all our 5 speakers of the day, and I'll now hand over the session proceeds to the master of the ceremony, Prasanna ma'am.